Hey everyone, welcome to the Crossed Arrows Hunting YouTube channel. Today we're going to do a bag dump with you. I'm going to go over everything that I take into the woods with me. Well, almost everything. Alright, hey, the first thing I want to talk to you about is my chest rig. It's just the old Vortex binos harness, and I attached a pouch on here that'll hold my rangefinder. And so inside I've got my binos, the Vortex 12x50 Diamondback HDs. Great pair of binos. They're small enough that they don't get in the way. They're easy to carry. Great glass, just like what you'd expect from Vortex. On the side, my rangefinder. It's the Halo XL600. Pretty good little rangefinder. Does the trick for me. Not really shooting out long distances. Also carry a wind indicator in here, just some talc. And then I usually also have my grunt call in the back there for quick access when we need it. All right, and that's my chest rig. Next thing, let's go to the bag. So I've been using the Horn Hunter. This is the G2, and this is a good little bag, and I like it because of the attachments around it. It's got these side attachments here that allow me to hang my climbing sticks onto, which I'll get to those in a bit. And it also has this on here, which was intended for a place to hold your rifle when you're rucking in the woods, but it'll allow me to put my platform on there, which we'll hit that also. On the bottom of it, I usually attach my knee pad, which is just a piece of foam that I put some of the stealth strips on, and I've got a buckle here on some 1-inch nylon. And that just allows me to get around just about any tree that I need to. Buckles in nice. I can cinch it down, and it's just a good place, comfortable place that I can just kick back in my saddle and kick my knees onto or put my knees onto the tree there, and allows you to be comfortable pretty much all day. This pack has also got on the wings out here some pockets for you to stow different stuff. Inside, I've got some Allen keys in case I need to do some adjustments on the bow out there, some electrical tape. On the other side, should have my headlamp. My headlamp, this is one of the Petzls, and the cool thing about this one is it's got 3 different settings for the white light, but if you push and hold on the power button, it's also got a red lens, which I really dig. All right. Inside the pack, well, you got a pocket outside. This is usually where I keep my snacks and stuff. The zippers are pretty good on this, pretty good and quiet. Take a little bit of time and attention to detail. You can get into your pockets pretty quietly. Inside the bag, it's got a whole bunch of different pockets, and I like that so that everything can be stored nice and neat in its own space for compartmentalization. In this upper pocket right here is kind of my emergency kit. Got an extra 50 feet of 550 cord, extra batteries for my light and rangefinder, a whistle in case I need to get the attention of somebody if I get hurt or lost or whatever, extra collars for broadheads, and a space blanket in case get lost or hurt out there and I find myself out in the woods overnight. Also keep fire starting stuff in there. In down here is usually where I keep my license. Inside I also keep an extra pair of socks and an extra pair of gloves in a Ziploc bag. And I usually have some food, in this case MRE stowed in the bottom there. It's also got this detachable little, I don't know what you call it, sack here. And inside, again, it's got pockets in here to keep stuff compartmentalized, which I really dig. I usually keep an extra Ziploc bag or two for wet weather that I can stow my phone into pretty easily. Bungee cord and some of these night eyes tie things. These things are great when you gotta keep something in place. Really handy to have around. And what else do we have in here? Pruning shears, in case you get up there in your tree stand or whatever and you got some limbs you need to move out of the way to give you that a good shooting hole. Keep some gloves in here for cleaning, and another light. And I think that's about it in here. I'll also, depending on what the weather looks like, if I need to stow wet weather gear inside of here, or if I need to stow extra clothing. Usually when I go out, I'll leave the truck, I'll leave my parking spot, and when I'm walking to the tree stand, I'll go as light as I can on the clothing. And then when I get to the tree stand, either right before I start making my way up, I'll put on a layer, and then when I'm in the tree stand, then I'll have something on the outside, a heavier coat, that once I start cooling down, I can put that on as well. But all of that can fit inside this bag. It looks small, but it really holds a lot of stuff. I'm digging this bag, and it's held up pretty good too. I think this is the second, I just put it through its second season, and I'm pretty hard on gear. Next thing is my saddle. I'm using the Tethered Menace, and I really like this saddle. This is super comfortable. I've done all day sits in this thing, and I mean from dark till dusk, from dark to dark. And it is really comfortable. And again, it's held up. Again, second season hunting with this also. And again, I'm not easy on my gear. I did put an extra kind of like lineman's rope, if you will, on here. It's adjustable, just adjustable webbing with another D-loop, and it's tied in on this side. That way when I'm climbing up, I can secure myself when I'm fixing my climbing sticks, and I don't have to keep changing back and forth or whatever from my tether. Also, on my saddle, I've got my trauma kit. Inside my trauma kit, I've got 2 tourniquets. I always carry 2 tourniquets with me, whether one is the cat style tourniquet, and as you see here, this is the rat style tourniquet. I usually carry 1 of each, if not 2 of each. I like carrying at least 1 of the rat style tourniquet because if I have to use it on somebody else, especially an elderly person or a child or something like that, the cat two tourniquets don't always do a good job. These, they do a great job for smaller persons. Inside, I've got quick clot material, quick clot gauze, chest seals, decompression needles, and trauma shears to get in there and do the job. I highly recommend carrying some type of first aid kit with you out into the woods. It only takes 1 slip for you to fall out of the tree stand, off the climbing stick, get impaled by something on the way down to where you need to do some first aid until you can get somewhere where someone else can give you aid or whatever. But I highly recommend taking some type of first aid trauma kit with you. Moving around the outside, Leatherman, and then I'll also have a limb saw in here, and this is from the company Outdoor Edge, and I wasn't familiar with them until I got this, and this is actually a phenomenal limb saw. This thing does a great job. Really glad I stumbled upon that. Just a regular Leatherman. Always like to have one of these with me going out into the woods. I've got these things all over the place. One here, I've got one in my go bag for the truck. I've got one inside the truck. You'll see them all over everything that I own. I put a dump pouch on my saddle also. I've gotten used to just having a dump pouch on my kit. It's really easy to stow stuff, whatever it might be. And in this case, this is where I keep my tether. It's really easy access just to have it in there, and then when I get to the place where I need it, whether on my platform or whatever, can tie in, and then that way, as I'm making a transition from climbing sticks to my platform, I've got 2 points of contact with that lineman's belt, or the lineman's belt, whatever you want to call it, and then also with that tether there, so that when I transition, if I do fall, all the better hooked in there. Also, I've got, this is my haul system, which is just 550 cord with a little carabiner on it. And I know everybody wants to hate on 550 cord because they say it gets tangled. But I've got a method that I use. It's nothing new to keep it from getting tangled up. And that is nothing more than just going from thumb to finger, weaving it back and forth. And then I've got a little bungee on here with a button keeper on there, and that keeps it nice and stowed inside of here. And I've never had any issues with it really getting tangled up on anything. And so that is my saddle. And I've been asked before why I keep my first aid kit, trauma kit on my saddle. If I do make some mistake when I'm on my platform, I'm not tied in properly or whatever, and I fall all the way from my platform, and my bag is hanging off the tree, I've always got it with me. If I come out of my tree stand and I'm doing a stalk and I might ground my bag back at the tree or something like that, I'm going to go with my saddle because it's comfortable enough I can walk through the woods with it. It's just always there. I would rather have it there and not need it, and then, you know, be in that situation where I don't have it, need it. For my tether, just a piece of 11 mil static rope with a loop tied on the end, figure 8 there. And then I've also used a Prusik with a locking carabiner. I always use locking carabiners just for, you know, another safety consideration there. And then I also made this little tender right here with one of these wire loop things and some 550 cord, and it does a great job when you're tied in of being able to manipulate that length of the tether with one hand. And there's tons of YouTube videos out there how to make this stuff. I also usually have a pair of gloves with me going up and down the tree using the climbing sticks and everything like that. It can be rough on your hands, especially in cold weather. I like the mechanics gloves, just the basic ones there. They're cheap enough, 25 bucks or so, and they are definitely sturdy. I've used these for years and years and years. Not this pair, but I mean the mechanics gloves. Even when I was on active duty, these are the gloves that I gravitate towards mostly. Also inside my dump pouch, I keep my bow hanger, which is something that I just made with just a piece of bar stock aluminum that I cut down and bent into the shape that I needed, and then put a strap with a buckle on it, and it gets around pretty much every tree. I've never had it not fit a tree. As you can see, I like using buckles. I'm not a big fan of Velcro out in the woods, as you can possibly imagine why. But the buckles you can clip and undo pretty much silently. But this is a great bow hanger, and that way I don't have to worry about screwing into any trees with any different type of bow hanger that you guys have seen. This has really worked well for me, and I put those stealth strips on there as well too, so that it not only protects my bow, but again it quietens it down pretty good. This is a daisy chain from Hawk, and it was supposed to be for the climbing sticks, but it works well as an equipment hanger. Just put it around and loop it back through itself, and then I can attach my bag or whatever it might be through the loops here with a carabiner or whatever, and it does great as a gear hanger there. My platform is a Hawk platform, and I know everybody likes to poo-poo on the Hawk stuff, but again, I've had this for a couple of seasons now, and I've not really had any issues with it whatsoever. I think anytime anyone's ever talked about any stands that have slipped or anything like that, I pretty much think that that's any stand if it's not put in really well, and that's just something that you have to do, is just take the time and make sure that you put it in right and do your due diligence and toe clip it in, push down, get it seated really well. Otherwise, I think any tree stand or any platform can slip. I did a couple of things to this one to mod it up. It's a solid piece of rubber here just to quieten it down, because where these pieces make contact with each other, it can get kind of loud. I also put some grip tape on top of the platform, and this has been probably one of the coolest mods I've done to the gear that I've got, because it has definitely come in handy on some wet days. The climbing sticks that I use are Hawk as well, and I've modded these out pretty good. I usually use 4, and again, I can clip them into the side of my bags for easy access and everything, and I just use a little keeper there to keep them together. They clip in pretty well together, but I always just have that for extra security. I use some climbing rope or rappel rope here as my attaching point to the tree. It just seems to work better for me. I've tried the Amsteel, and I think I may change it all out for the Amsteel stuff. It is a lot lighter, it is a lot smaller, and it's a lot less to deal with, and it locks in really good. But for now, this is what I'm using. I also added an aider to the bottom step with just this 1-inch nylon right here, and it works really well. I've not had any problems slipping off of it, and it's about 18 inches or so of just a continuous loop there, and works really well, and gives me another, I'm able to get up, 20, 21 feet or so up into the tree with no issues. And I haven't had any issues with these climbing sticks. Yeah, they've kicked out. I know a lot of people have talked about that. I've seen it on forums and this and that and everything. But when they do kick out, I've noticed that it has been my fault of having too much angle on that attaching point. I've found that if you lessen the angle and don't have too steep of an angle when you tie in, I haven't had any issues with it kicking out after that. So you just got to pay attention to how I'm tying in. And that's pretty much it for my kit. I'm by no means saying, this is what you should carry. This is just what I carry. Sometimes more, never less than this. This is probably the minimum that I would go into the woods with. Yeah, I'm not going that far. Sometimes, yeah, I might be a couple of miles from my parking spot. That can make a big difference, really between life and death, of having a first aid kit, some food, some shelter, some warm stuff in here. So I err on the side of caution always. Oh, and water. I always carry water with me, of course. So yeah, there you have it, guys. This is my kit, and this is what I take with me, and hope you enjoyed it. This is going to be a series that I'm going to do on the channel here. So this is if you haven't checked out the Crossed Arrows Hunting podcast, check it out. You can find it on every platform out there. All the guests that I've had on there, I'm going to get them to do a bag dump also, and so you can check out what these guys carry. All right. So hey, stay tuned for a lot more. Thanks.